forklift driver. What is up everyone? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the Dream Build Home series. It has been a little while since I've updated you guys on my self-build project, namely 5 months. I can't believe it's been this long. You guys know how it is though. Months fly by, we're working away, and I just feel like this is the time where I've finally had enough sort of done on this project that I can kind of gather everything and put it into one video for you guys. A lot has happened in that 5 months, so let me update you all and let's roll it back around to March earlier this year. So guys, today is an exciting day because we are finally getting the bases for our doors downstairs prepped with concrete. We've also finally poured all of these concrete pads for all of our glue lambs that obviously you guys can see on the exterior of our building. This has been one of those tasks that we've been putting off for ages, but finally it's done. And also we are pouring these really nice bases for our sliding doors. Obviously our sliding doors are quite large, so they need a substantial base for them to sit on. Pouring concrete foundations is nothing new to us since we have already done all of the foundation work on the entire base of our house ourselves. This was basically a piece of cake, so we just used our laser level to make things nice and easy and make sure that the base was completely level before the concrete set. Our upper and lower doors actually come from 2 different companies, and the upper sliding doors were ordered first because we wanted to get the upstairs completely sealed off and finished before actually focusing on getting the house done to the same stage downstairs. So from ordering the upper doors, we waited about 12 weeks for them to be delivered. I, for years, have watched the TV show Grand Designs, and I'm sure you guys have too. And you know how almost in every episode, something for the self-builders goes wrong, such as their windows arriving on site and being the wrong size? I always thought that that doesn't actually happen and it must be staged just for the drama. I sadly can now confirm these things do actually happen. We actually had the surveyor come and measure the openings for these doors, and somehow in his 20 years of doing this, he got the measurement wrong, which resulted in all of the glass for this door coming 40 centimeters too short in height across the whole door. This was so disappointing because obviously we had waited for so long for these doors to be fitted. Luckily they were able to make the frame work okay for this door, but unfortunately they did have to leave it without glass for another 8 weeks. I don't know how, but the other door to the smaller balcony was actually measured correctly, so they managed to fit that perfectly fine without any issues. So after the 8 weeks of waiting for the new correct glass to arrive, the company came back to fit it. However, this time there was another mistake. After they fitted it, we realized that the glass was completely the wrong color from one pane to the other. Basically what happened was the glass got bonded to the frame the wrong way round, so the side that was supposed to be outside ended up being on the inside. Although you couldn't really see the difference from inside, you could totally see it from outside because one half was blue and the other one was green. The glass has solar coating on it to reduce heat from inside, so this wouldn't be working properly with this kind of mistake. So now we had to wait another 2 months for them to come back and rebond it the right way around. This sadly did cause some delays on works on the inside of the house, so we carried on working outside while we waited. However, with the frame of the doors being in, we were at least able to properly insulate all the steel beams above the doors and get it prepped for the airtight membraning. While we waited for the glass to be correct for the 3rd time, they say 3rd time's a charm, I was really hoping that was true, we basically carried on working outside on the brickwork. Now, it was only getting harder and harder the higher up the building we got. My job with Matt was basically to get the boxes of bricks up on the scaffolding so that the bricklayers had the bricks ready and there, and it would speed things along. We hired this machine called a bumper hoist to help us with this task, but even this was incredibly difficult as the boxes of bricks themselves were 30 kg each. I struggled with this so much and I had such bad back pain for like a week after this, but it was just the 2 of us and it had to be done. At this stage, we had the scaffolding up around the house for so many months now, and we just needed to get the cladding around the house finished ASAP. We took this time to finish the composite cladding on the upper wall above the front door of the house. This is the only part of the house where the bricks actually meet the composite cladding, and I really love this effect of the two different colors and textures right next to each other. It definitely looks super modern and just like my favorite house renders I always dreamed of on my Pinterest boards. Once we were finished with the bricks and the cladding, the scaffolding finally came down. Alright guys, so it's been a little while, but I finally have a little bit more of a meaningful update to show you guys. Basically, this is how the house is currently looking. The bricks are all finished on majority of the house and the garage, which honestly feels like such an amazing relief because it has been so long since the bricks have actually arrived here on site. It was a very lengthy process, but it is finally finished and I think it looks so great. There is actually one more wall that needs to be finished, which is the outside of our media wall in the long wing lounge area. This brick will basically wrap around the entire wall from outside to inside, and it will also feature a linear fireplace eventually. The rest of the bricks are now fully complete though, and I think they do look really grand. Alright guys, so we are finally working on the inside of the house, and as you can see, this is our bedroom wing currently. In previous episodes, you guys would have seen that we've done all the membraning and stud walling in the long wing, which is just behind you there. But finally we are doing something in here, which it's been a long time coming because this room / this wing of the house has just been left like this for so long with just bare wood walls. So finally this weekend, me, Matt and my dad just basically membrane this whole place. This is like a, what is this called?
Well, it's an intelligent membrane, so it's an air barrier, but it has some moisture properties that I think if there's damp or moisture behind it, lets that through. So nothing gets trapped except air. It is airtight.
Basically what Matt said. I basically just taped up the whole thing, and yeah, it was really tedious work, but it's finally finished. Also, the doors in here are finally in, and we've had such a nightmare with this door. First, when they turned up, the actual door, like the glass, was too short. I think they must have measured it wrong, and it was about like that short, so they could only fit the frame but not the glass. Then the second time around when they came, they fitted everything. However, one of the glass panels was bonded the wrong way around. So from outside, I'll pop a photo on screen, but one side was like a bluey color and the other side was like a greeny color, so it just looked pretty silly. But then they came back, they flipped the glass around, and it is completely finished, which has meant that we can actually press on in here at last. Obviously, it did put a little bit of a delay on our project because we weren't able to like tape around the windows to do all this membraning, but yeah, it works pretty great now, so I'm really happy with it. Now that you have a little bit of an update as to what's been done, me and Matt are now working in the main sort of bathroom, basically our ensuite. We're actually going to be creating a stud wall here for all the plumbing work to go in. So we're basically just creating a stud. And then over here, we're going to be doing the same because as you guys can see, the steel beam is kind of overhanging the wall a little bit too much. So we kind of have to pack that out to make it flush. So now that all the membraning and stud walls are finished, the rooms were ready for the MF suspended ceiling. Because we have a steel frame house and wanted to hide the steel beams internally within the ceiling, the finished ceiling height had to come down below the steel beams. This was also the perfect opportunity to fit the entire perimeter with our shadow gap detail and also run all the pipes for our mechanical ventilation unit. The mechanical ventilation, or MVHR, is necessary for our build because we have an airtight house and no trickle vents in any of our doors or windows. So essentially what it does is it will bring fresh air into the house from outside, but with minimal heat loss, and it means that we never have to open any doors or windows to get fresh air in the house. We also started to do some plasterboarding on some of the walls that will eventually need to have plumbing and electrics done behind it. Even though we're still a way off from doing any kind of electrical and plumbing work, it was super nice to get at least a couple of walls up with the plasterboard and finally get to see the sizes of the rooms. Our bedroom upstairs is the first place to get any kind of plasterboarding like this, so this moment felt really, really special. I've got something to show you. How big is it? Oh, how big is it? As we are well into the summer now, we also thought it was about time we do some groundwork before the ground turns to mud again in autumn. We are so lucky that we have this huge mound of hardcore and rubble at the ready from the old house that got knocked down years ago. The amount of tons of this stuff that we have used for this project has saved us thousands of pounds that I literally call this pile of rubble my mound of gold. You dug your way through?
I punched a hole in that metal.
Finally! Oh my god, the first sign of the house. Crazy! Oh, this feels like a moment that needs to be recorded for the ages. We always tried to imagine what kind of view we would have from this part of the house, which was actually quite hard with this huge mound of rubble in the way for almost 3 years. Moving all this material around the house has taken us a long time. It's quite a repetitive and tedious task, but luckily we have the right machinery to do this with ease, so I'm not complaining. Once we tip all the hardcore into piles, we then use the digger to spread it and level it out. We had to raise the whole entire ground around the entire building by about 50 centimeters, which doesn't sound like much, but on such a vast area, it ends up being quite a lot of material and a lot of work. So as you can see, there is no more lumps and bumps all around the house. We're also starting to do a little bit of like garden landscaping. There's so many ideas that are running through our heads for this area, but essentially what we're thinking is we have the backdrop of these trees, which we definitely don't want to move. We're going to put some kind of like mound here. And by mound, I just mean like an elevated level of soil that then we can plant some Acer trees and like a Japanese garden on top. So it's kind of going to be like little tiers, if that makes sense. Over there, we're thinking of obviously not getting rid of any of those trees. We want to encompass them in maybe like a little bit of an island with a little like pond around it. And then here we're thinking like white sort of gravel to kind of make it look very Japanese garden-y. There is literally so many different ideas running through our heads. We're kind of just trying to like see what the best thing to do is for this area because it is quite a large area to cover. Also, I don't know if you guys remember, but the mound of rubble that we have been using for basically all this leveling is really finally starting to kind of dissipate, which is amazing because this has been blocking our view to the field and the paddock beyond. So yeah, it's almost there. It's almost gone. So this is how the house is looking from the driveway. We've also leveled this area here and we have some really cool ideas for this area. We definitely don't want it to just be like a typical boring driveway. So I think we're going to do like gravel grids with some nice stones over the top, but we want to do like this curved kind of wall that comes round like so. And then over there under the oak tree, we're probably going to plant like little trees and little bushes and stuff like that to make it like a little front garden. But the rest of the area that you see with all the stones is basically just going to be a huge parking area. So that's going to be really, really good. It's so weird seeing the house without the scaffolding on this part. It honestly looks a little bit weird to me. Every time we uncover a new part of the house from the scaffolding, I'm always like, whoa, this looks so weird. But then I do warm up to it and it looks fine after a couple of weeks. But right now it's still in the phase of looking a little bit strange. Also at the entrance to our site, we also have these huge Leylandii trees. Like this oak tree is very, very old. Like look at it compared to the house. It is hundreds of years old and it's very mature. And then these Leylandii trees are just even bigger than the oak tree. So we've decided that we're going to have them cut down. There's quite a few of them there, as you can see, but they have to go because they are a little bit of a danger to the house. Like if they were to fall down, it would crush the house. So we are getting rid of them, sadly. We are going to keep one row of them, which is like the back row, because there's two rows. There's like this row and then there's one on the other side of the road. It is going to be sad to see them go because they are really nice trees and it makes the entrance very special when you first drive in, but yeah, they are kind of strangling the oak tree. And if you notice that all of the branches are on this side of the tree rather than the other side, because obviously the oak tree doesn't get any sun from that side. Here is a shot from a distance so you guys can see just how tall these Lowlandi trees actually were. The tree surgeon told us that they're not even anywhere near their max height yet. It really was a real shame to get rid of these trees, as we loved the shaded entrance to our property between the 2 rows of trees so much, but we had to think about the future and the safety of the house, and if we didn't cut them down now, would only either run into trouble later or have to cut them down when they're much bigger, so it just made sense to do it now whilst the driveway is still not done. It took the 2 tree surgeons a day and a cherry picker to be able to cut these trees down. We actually requested for the trunks of the trees to be cut into long sections of about 6 meters long, just so that one day we could potentially use these trees to build like a garden structure of some kind. I think that's a really nice way to basically reuse the trees and not let them go to waste. Now that all of the ground around the house was raised to the correct height, we were able to start doing our soil pipes and drainage, which will eventually connect to a treatment plant. This in itself has been a huge task and a lot of head scratching, but between myself, Matt, and Matt's dad, we figured out all of the correct fulls and levels for the pipe work, and this is how it's looking. There is a lot of inspection chambers, by the way, and I totally feel like I'll get lots of comments about this, but legally you are required to place an inspection chamber at every point where there is an angle change, and since our house is super angular, it means we need a lot of them. All of the soil drainage is basically done now. All we have to do now is dig the trench and continue the pipe work in a straight line and connect it up to a treatment plant, which hopefully we'll be doing in the next couple of months. So guys, this is where we are at right now with the house. I literally have updated you guys on everything that's been going on in the last couple of months, and I feel like we've definitely come a long way. It's just like slow baby steps, because Matt and I are trying to do as much of it ourselves as we possibly can. In the next episode, you guys will see these downstairs doors going in, this one and this one, which I'm so excited for, because that will literally mean that the house will be fully watertight. We're also going to be getting our front door in, and I can't wait to show you guys which door we opted for, so stay tuned for the next episode. I'm hoping to post it like maybe in a month or 2 this time. As always, thank you guys so much for being here and watching this video. Let me know your thoughts on the house build project so far in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye! Mwah.